Jason Miller and Anna Navarro. Guys, I've known you both for a long, long time. I know there are strong feelings about this. To the extent that I can, I'm going to let you guys talk. Let's see how it goes. Anna, first to you, your reaction to what we've heard the last day.
I can't even believe that you're asking the question if, President Donald J. Racist is a person who's a bigot and is in the White House. Of course he is. When a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time. He has shown us throughout his life. He showed us throughout his campaign. He has shown us throughout his time as president. He is not going to change. A 71-year-old racist is not going to see Jesus and come to a different conclusion and a different heart at this stage in life. This is who he is, and it's up to the rest of us in America to say that that is not who America is. The reason I'm so pissed off about this, John, is because I live in Miami. Miami is a vibrant city that has been built by people who come from shitholes. People like me, people like the Haitians who are working in our restaurants, who work in our hospitals, who are taking care of our children, of our elderly, who are doctors and lawyers and vibrant parts of this community. And today the message they need to hear is that we are with them, that they are part of this community, they are part of this country, and they are what makes America great already.
Jason?
JB, I love you, but I thought that intro coming into this segment was just completely ridiculous. I mean, what we're here to talk about is the fact that President Trump is trying to get a deal done on DACA. He's trying to get a deal done
Jason,
on
with all due respect, that may be what you're here to talk about. Okay, but the president said something that a lot of people reacted to.
So let's talk about what he said. He was supposed to have a meeting yesterday where these lawmakers were going to come in and talk about merit-based immigration reform, and they came to him with something that had a whole bunch of carve-outs. He doesn't want carve-outs for folks from specific countries, whether it be the UK, whether it be Norway, whether it be Japan, whether it be Haiti, whether it be El Salvador. He doesn't want carve-outs by country. He wants a merit-based immigration system. Plain and simple. And the fact that these folks came to him with a plan that isn't acceptable in his mind, obviously he was fired up. So there was salty language back and forth on either side. And so he said some of the places in the world might be S-holes. Well, guess what? There are a lot of S-hole countries all around the world.
He only mentioned ones that had black and brown people.
No, but his point was, he said, why did you bring me something that has carve-outs, and why are you trying to, and especially if we're going to go and have carve-outs, why do you bring me something where we have tens of thousands of people who are coming on a TPS who, at the economic level, if they're even lucky, have the shirt on their back?
Jason,
the whole point is should be on an
every
individual
time
basis.
He says something racist, right? Every time he says something like this, or he says that there are people on both sides of Charlottesville where people were chanting, Jews will not replace us. Every time we get an answer that's not what he means. Well, it does, because there's a pattern of statements here. It absolutely does, Jason, because we have heard from the president what he thinks about these issues that deal with race and deal with other. And consistently, he says things like this, and we are told by people close to the White House, well, that's not what he meant.
So here's where we disagree, John. So the president, because I've had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him, he believes that the U.S. is the best country in the history of this world. There is a reason why people want to go from El Salvador and Haiti to the U.S. No one is clamoring to go from the U.S. back to El Salvador or back to Haiti. The reason why everyone wants to come here is this place is so great. But in order to make sure that we keep the U.S. great, we can't have everyone from the world come in at the same time. I mean, that's just not realistic. So
just people from Norway. Just people from Norway.
He wants to have an individual-based, merit-based system similar to what we have in Canada, and I mean that's what this whole thing was about. And also he said Asia, but that conveniently got left out of about places that have high education levels. But again, it's about the individual. So it doesn't matter if they're from Nigeria or Haiti or El Salvador or
Jason,
anywhere.
I get your point. It does seem to matter to the president. But Anna, go ahead.
Listen, the reason that this country is great and the reason that people want to come here is because this country has been built decade after decade from the very start by people fleeing political persecution, by people fleeing shitholes. A lot of the people who built this country came from shitholes in Africa, and they were shackled to the bowels of ships and then whipped and beaten and auctioned off like property. A lot of the people who came from shitholes are buried in Arlington. Maybe Donald Trump, when he was busy dodging the draft 4 times to not go to Vietnam, instead of talking about shitholes and instead of being a public shameless racist, should take a walk outside the walls of the White House and go see the names that are imprinted on the Vietnam Wall and see how many people from there come from shitholes or descend from people that come from shitholes. So that is who's built this country. That is who today is working just steps away from where I am. That is who's working at Doral, at the gaudy Gold LeMay hotels that he has here in Florida. They are overrepresented in some of our largest industries. It is why my Congresswoman, Republican Congresswoman, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, went on TV here yesterday and said he is a racist and these comments should be condemnable. It is why even Rick Scott, who is, Donald Trump's mini-me, the governor of Florida, distanced himself from these comments yesterday, because even Republicans realize just how foolish they look, looking into a camera and trying to pretend that this was not about black versus white, that this was not about European versus others. You know
well,
what?
Then why is it that President Trump is the one who's actually trying to get a deal done on DACA? Okay, I mean, look, at a certain point here, because you have no argument. You're trying to go right to a personal attack. You're trying to go right to a personal attack on President Trump, and you have no argument. The fact that he's going to get a deal done on DACA, that he's trying to get a comprehensive immigration reform done in a way that Obama couldn't, in a way that Bush couldn't. But you know what? President Trump is going to get that done. But the political left is going immediately to the personal attack.
Hang on, one second, because we just heard from the president. Anna, wait. We just heard from the president.
This isn't about you and me. You can't even sit there and watch the president's own words without calling John Berman and New Day ridiculous, because you don't even have the face to be able to look at his own words. This program isn't putting words in his mouth. They're quoting him. That's him on video.
Anna,
those are his words. He has been a racist his entire life. Oh, no, I'm not melting. I'm not a snowflake. You know
guys,
what I am?
It's not even springtime.
Hang on, Jason, Anna, hang on one second. Hang on one second, Anna. The president just...
Jason, I don't say that you look like a buffoon trying to make sense of what this man is saying. This is about Donald Trump being a racist. I don't care what you say.
You should give him some credit.
Jason, Anna, hang on. The president just put out a statement. The president just put out a statement.
I'll give him credit.
The president just put out a statement, and I would like to add that to this conversation right now. The president says, the language used by me at the DACA meeting was tough, but this was not the language used. What was really tough was the outlandish proposal made, a big setback for DACA. Well, now he's adding something that's just not true to the discussion right now. The people at that meeting confirmed to CNN, as well as every major news organization, that he said exactly those words. The White House did not deny that he used those words last night. So now this morning, he's trying to suggest that he didn't say them. Jason.
Well, I obviously wasn't inside the meeting, so I don't know exactly what was said, but I did talk to folks in the White House last night who said very clearly that this was a conversation about merit-based immigration reform. The president pushed back very strongly and said the plan they'd brought to him was ridiculous. And look, if they're going to go and try to push for special carve-outs, like I said, whether it's for the UK or whether it's for Haiti or any other country, that's not going to be a plan that's acceptable to the president.
Anna?
Listen, at this point, the only thing I have to say is that today, ironically, is the anniversary, the 8-year anniversary of the earthquake that struck Haiti, where over 700,000 Haitians died. And I hope that we can reflect on that today as a country, have a moment of silence, and send that country, which is today the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and has sent us some of the best Americans we have here, making all sorts of sacrifices and working hard to contribute to this society. Let's give them a thought and some prayers today.
Jason, what about compassion, right? What about compassion about the people from Haiti who came to the United States? It's also been reported that the president said in meetings that they all have AIDS. As far as the people from Africa go, the New York Times reported that he said people from Nigeria, should go back to their huts. How do you explain that away?
Well, John, you bring up an important point about compassion, because the U.S. is the most compassionate country in the history of this world.
It has been historically.
And it still is. And we still bring in tens of thousands of folks a year from countries who are going through tragedies or distressed countries to try to help people out. But again, it's when they say TPS, the T stands for temporary. We're not bringing folks in and saying that we're giving you automatic citizenship or you're going to be here permanently. There's a process. If folks want to apply to be a citizen of the United States, there is a process for that. We can't just go and give citizenship to everyone in the world who wants it. Again, Everyone in the world wants to come here because the U.S. is so great. We have big hearts. We're a very compassionate society, but we can only do so much. We can only afford so much.
We have been. And I want to ask this to you because I've been asking all morning. Mitch McConnell, Speaker Ryan, where are you on this? They have been silent on the president's comments. Do they need to make a statement? And the lack of a statement, does that mean they approve of what the president says? Does that mean that the leadership of the Republican Party stands by the sentiment expressed by the president?
Look, there's been a lot of Republicans in Congress. I've read the tweets and I've read the statements who have spoken out about this. But it is important for the leadership to say that this is not what they represent, that this is not what they stand by, that this is not what is acceptable in America. It is important for the Republican leaders to remember, especially this weekend, as we are going into Martin Luther King weekend, that we are the party of Lincoln, that we are a party that was built to be inclusive, that was built to be on equality, that was built on fighting for people's rights, and that this type of racism, that this type of bigotry will not go unanswered by Republican leadership. Yes, they have a duty. And it is a pain in the neck. It is a pain in the neck for leaders, Republican leaders, to have to spend their time responding to Donald Trump, but it is not an option. Silence is complicity. They cannot remain silent in the face of such racism and such bigotry tearing America apart today.
Jason, and John, where Anna and I agree is that the Republican Party is the party of inclusiveness, that we are the compassionate party. And again, that's why I think President Trump and the Republicans in Congress have the ability to get a deal done to help the Dreamers, to get something done on comprehensive immigration reform, where Democrats
But Jason, you've been talking about immigration reform, and to an extent that's part of the discussion, but it's not the whole discussion. If the president,
that was the entire discussion.
That's why they were in the room. That's why they were in the room, and then the president said what he said. Okay, so he calls these countries shithole countries.
Can I tell you something?
Hang on, go ahead, Anna.
If this is about immigration reform, then I would say to Donald J. Racist, put up or shut up. Exert some leadership. Say exactly what you want. Go read up on the policy issues and come up with a plan. Exert leadership on Congress and get a plan signed and delivered. We've got a deadline ticking, and we've got kids whose lives are in limbo.
Hang on, Jason. Hang on. My question, Anna, hang on. Anna,
of his comments, this is now, in danger.
Anna, my question to Jason here is, if the president said the people of Haiti all have AIDS, if the president said the people of Nigeria should go back to those, are those racist comments? Are those, if anyone said it, would those be racist comments?
That's a false binary choice that you're trying to present to me, John, because the White House said that those comments weren't made.
The president just said that he didn't call those countries shithole countries after the people in those meetings have told every media organization that he did, and the White House didn't deny it. Just because
he said that the language that's being represented wasn't accurate to what was in the meeting yesterday. Again, wasn't in the meeting yesterday.
It seems to me what you don't want to say is those comments, if he said them, were racist. Racist things are racist.
I could turn around and throw several things at you that are completely irrelevant to this conversation and try to get you to say, hey, John Berman, will you say the following is terrible? But that's irrelevant because they weren't said. And so you're trying to bait me and put me in a corner and try to say that the president is something that he's not. I mean, I had the opportunity to spend hundreds of hours with the president last year in 2016, traveling around. And what I saw was a president who wants to represent all Americans. I saw the event that he did in Little Haiti. Saw the events that he did in inner city, and whether it be in Cleveland when I campaigned with him, and he was talking about school choice and infrastructure and all these great things. And you know what? And there's a reason why he did 2 points better with African Americans and 3 points better with Hispanics than Mitt Romney did 4 years earlier, because there's a message of hope and optimism. And you know who's who's benefiting the most right now in this country? Right now, it's the unemployment rate is going down the most.
We're moving from the discussion right now. You said the president wants to represent all Americans. Apparently not as of today. Americans or people in America who come from Haiti, because the president reportedly said yesterday the people from Haiti, get them out.
I mean, John, this isn't a global village. I mean, is that what you're trying to say here?
I'm just saying the president said the people from Haiti, get them out. The president said that yesterday in the meeting. Those were his sentiments. You said he wanted to represent